Right, this weekend I'll be going on my first summer trip on the bike. It'll be a weekend away in the North Yorkshire Dales with my brother. So next week, hopefully, the Friday afternoon video will be a trip video. Now, the video last week, I just went through all the camping gear that I normally take, and there've been one or two developments between now and last week. First things first, the Trichology table, the one that I've had for a while that I have reviewed, and I also demonstrated it in last week's video. As I said last week, Trichology have now introduced the medium-sized table into the UK market. And last week I was awaiting arrival of a sample to see whether or not it was going to be suitable for bike camping. And for me, the answer is a definite resounding yes. It is suitable for bike camping, depending on the space that you have available with your luggage. Now, fully packed down, this table is 22 inches long and about 6 inches wide. If you're using a bag similar to the 60 litre Lomo bag that I use, you're not going to have any problems at all getting this into your luggage. And I've actually found that it's easy to integrate it in with the rest of my gear. Those with hard panniers like the BMW aluminium panniers, Touratech panniers, that kind of thing, I think you're going to find that this is too big to go in those boxes. But if you're using something like the 20 litre Lomo dry bags, I think it should just fit inside one of those. Otherwise, you can just stick to the smaller table. Now, this table obviously does offer you a bit more usability and versatility. It's made from exactly the same materials as the original small table, that's 70-75 grade aerospace aluminium, and it goes together in exactly the same way. It's just a larger version of the same design. Now, the total surface dimensions once it's erected is 22 inches by 18 inches, and it also stands about 4 or 5 inches higher than the original compact table at about 16 inches. This particular size just comes finished in the colours that you see here. That's like an anodised blue top and a silver frame. It's currently selling for £29.99 on Amazon, so it's just £10 dearer than the original version, but it's certainly made to the same high quality and standards. Now, obviously, which of these two tables you choose is purely down to your preferences and, the use that you need out of it. But I do think certainly if there's more than one of you, this larger table is going to come in handy, and I'm certainly going to give it a go on this weekend trip. Now, I spoke to Trichology this week by email, and they just asked me to let people know that both in the US and the UK, they are experiencing some difficulties in basically keeping the Amazon shelves stocked. Demand has far outstripped production, not just for the tables but also for some of their chair models, and certainly at the moment the smaller compact table isn't available in the UK until production catches up, but it's not been discontinued, and they're expecting that to be back in stock sometime later this month. Now, I'm certainly no expert when it comes to camping mattresses or sleeping pads or whatever you want to call them, and certainly the Black Canyon one that I bought a few years ago demonstrates this because it was an unmitigated disaster. It's far too large, heavy and just downright bulky to carry around, and despite being quite comfortable, it's also very slippery, which makes a good night's sleep something that's a bit difficult to achieve. Now, the guys at Trichology saw last week's video, and their response to my problem with this mattress was to send me their new sleeping pad. Now, as I've said, I am no expert when it comes to this kind of thing, so I'm simply going to have to tell you about this pad as I see it. I believe the price is £39.99, and I think that puts it in just about the average bracket for this kind of thing. I know you can pay less for them, but I also know from my own research that you can pay a hell of a lot more for this kind of thing. It does seem to be one of the more technical designs, and you know, there's certainly a lot more work gone into this than with the previous pad that I've used. Looking at it, I would say that this is probably aimed at the serious lightweight camping enthusiast rather than somebody who prefers to go glamping with all the mod cons. It's very lightweight, and as you can see, it does actually pack up very small. In fact, I would say it's about a third to a quarter of the size of the previous mattress that I had, which I'm not going to talk about anymore because it's just downright embarrassing. Now, it's your standard self-inflating type, and pretty much in common with the other one that I have, I've found it's best to leave it for 5 or 10 minutes to inflate and then just put 2 or 3 breaths of air into it just to get it to the required hardness. Now, rather than just being of a flat construction, it seems to be made up of some sort of cellular construction inside, and the actual material itself seems to be made up of a very tightly woven textile of some sort. It looks to be really well made. There are no raggy edges or runoffs anywhere, and it's certainly up to the standard that I've come to expect from Trichology now. Now, Trichology term this as the regular sized sleeping pad. At the moment, as far as I can see, it's the only one available in the UK, so whether they plan on introducing different sizes and thicknesses in the future, I really don't know at the moment. Once you've got it fully inflated, the measurements are as follows. Thickness wise, I measured it with a pair of digital calipers at round about 3 centimeters thick, which I think is about average for a technical type sleeping pad. Now, it's the usual sort of mummy type shape, and at the widest point it's about 54 to 55 centimeters in width. And finally, total length is 185 centimeters. That's just over 6 feet tall, so it's perfectly suitable for your average adult. Now, comfort wise, it is actually pretty good. Despite it not being very thick, it did surprise me. Now, kneeling down on it in the middle when it's fully inflated, your knees are just touching the ground underneath. You can just feel it, although you can also feel that the pad itself is taking a lot of pressure off your knees, so I think that's quite good for something that's only 3 centimeters or so thick. If you lay down on it flat on your back, you can't feel the ground underneath at all, but as I've said in the past, I'm one of those people who likes to sleep on my side. Now, doing this with my weight spread fully along the pad, I couldn't feel the ground underneath my shoulders. It all felt very comfortable. I could just feel the hardness of the ground around my hip bone, but I don't think it's going to be enough to cause any discomfort overnight. It does come with a puncture repair kit, which I think is a nice touch, and it is very quick and easy to deflate, fold up and put away. Now, I didn't get a chance to try this out with my sleeping bag and my pillow, etc., but it certainly doesn't feel slippery like my other pad does, so fingers crossed this is going to work out better. I suppose the proof of the pudding with this is going to be whether I get a good night's sleep with it over the weekend, and I will report on that in next week's video as to how I got along with this pad. Right, that's all I've got time for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you found it useful. As I've said, I am camping in the Yorkshire Dales this weekend. People are welcome to send me a friend's request on my Facebook page. If you go onto my main YouTube channel page, bottom right hand corner of the main picture there is the icon to my Facebook page. If you'd like to send a friend's request, I'd love to hear from everybody, and I'll try and post some updates on what I'm doing and what's going on this weekend. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.